London, the 1900s. This is a story about two men who are quite similar but also quite different. And that difference is why they collide one day. One of them is a poet. He is a man of principles, he is a man of culture, and he seems to be the more gentlemanly of the two, if I could say. And the other one is a man who proclaimed himself as the wickedest man on earth, the Beast 666. Yes, everyone, today we are going to talk about the Battle of Blythe Road of none other than Aleister Crowley versus W.B.Yeats. So who exactly are these two? Well, if you are someone who are interested in the occult and the mysteries of them all, like me, you might be already familiar with the names such as Yeats and Crowley, and more so especially Crowley since he's quite the famous one for better or worse. I might even say that even people who doesn't really dabble in the occult also have heard about Crowley, at least in name, at least in pop culture references, right? But with that being said, for those who doesn't know them, I'm going to introduce you guys to the two main characters of today's video before we go too far. So let's meet the first contender of this so-called battle, Aleister Crowley, the man, the myth, the legend himself. He's a poet, a magician, and someone who's actually quite provocative, especially for his time. And you would have known and believed that he did raise some eyebrows back then. Being quite young in his 20s when he joined the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn in London, he actually clashed a lot with his seniors as soon as he joins the order. Because, well, maybe because he was quite young, his style of doing magic was quite reckless in comparison with the older members. He likes to experiment with, yes, you guessed it, he liked to experiment with sex magic. Yes, he was not afraid to experiment and to explore the more taboo topics in practicing magic and ceremonies, rituals, and etc. So that didn't really fly very well with the other guys. But for Crowley himself though, he believed that magic is about will, power, and transformation. And that was why he wasn't afraid to dive into the more taboo topics and zones. And it was also the reason why eventually he coined this famous phrase, or I would call it like his credo, the famous line, "Do what thou wilt." I'm sure that you have heard that one somewhere before. That was him, that was the guy who made the term. It's Crowley. So yeah, you have this young man with this enormous ambition and his unconventional magical methods and his desire to push boundaries, and that really makes him at odds with his seniors at the Golden Dawn. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have Mr. William Butler Yeats, or I will just call him Yeats from now on. He is an Irish poet. He also got a Nobel Prize for his writings way after the battle. And he was deeply involved in the occult and has joined the Golden Dawn before Crowley. He was impressed by the leader Samuel Little McGregor Matters. I hope I pronounced his name right. He was someone who viewed magic as something that's more like artistic, poetic, spiritual. So it was more like, instead of a medium to control, a medium for power, to him magic was more like something that comes from the soul. It's like art, like his poetry. So yeah, you can kind of guess why these two clash, because of this like differences in their principles, personalities, and at some point the rivalry between the two just cannot be contained anymore. So yeah, without any surprises, even though Crowley and Yeats are members in the same secret society, they have very different philosophies, and that was why these two didn't get along at all. So honestly, what exactly caused this clash beside their like different opinions, different philosophies, and like personal ambitions? There was also like an internal conflict, internal politics inside the Order of the Golden Dawn, where, well, it was already quite heated with some tensions inside, because like some senior members, they were unhappy with the leader's leading style, and like how Crowley is getting like influence with the leadership part of the group. And yeah, that didn't really fly with the more like, idealistic magicians of the part, like people like Yeats. So yeah. And to nobody's surprise, when Crowley, backed by the leader of the group, the leader of the society, attempted to seize control of the London Temple by demanding loyalty pledges, retrieving ritual documents, and changing locks at the headquarters at the 36 Blythe Road, people like Yeats and his allies understandably resisted. So now, how exactly did this battle happen anyway? And why did this become such a legendary thing between the occult circles? Well, here we go. So the temple itself, in its original address in the 36 Blythe Road, it has now apparently become a place called George's Cafe or something. I'm not from London, so I don't know, but apparently Google said so. The two sides, Crowley and Yeats, appeared in there to fight it off. And how did they do it? Well, Crowley showed up with full equipment and costume, like fully committed to the bit. Like, honestly guys, if you did something like he did back then, people might just gonna think that you are going to a cosplay event, not gonna lie. But anyways, yeah, he did show up with full outfit like that. He had a black mask, huge cross on his chest, dagger at his side, Highland tartan, and he demanded entry to interview his seniors under the leader's authority. But like, obviously enough, Yeats and the other guys was like, no. So obviously the two sides decided to just battle the hell out of it. As you might expected, magicians, what are they gonna use? Spells, curses, or summoning their familiars, or whatever. Well, I really hate to announce this to you guys, because when I first heard of the battle, I was expecting something like in real life Harry Potter versus Voldemort scenario or something like that. But apparently things like that doesn't happen in real life, sadly enough, even though you are part of this seemingly super secret society. Yep, as the rumors has it, the loser basically just got kicked down the stairs. Yeah, exactly. I know how that sounds, but like, I'm being for real right now, guys. That's what comes up when I'm trying to research about this. Crowley basically just got kicked down the stairs by Yeats himself. At least that was what his sources said. There was also another account that said that the battle actually didn't go that like physical. It just, like some confrontations, legal actions, and how like the people who are at the building kind of like changed the lock and stuff like that, and nothing too dramatic. Although there's also some details that say that Crowley made the sign of the inverted pentacle, and he shouted like some threats and tried to do like a magical invasion of sorts, and yes, might have invoked some protective spells apparently. Well, that's for you to believe or not to believe, but it's interesting nonetheless. And well, this story just really paints a very colorful picture of a piece of our interesting history of the occult, where two very different men, very different magicians who live in the same era, very influential people too, with different ideas, different ideologies, and they fight it off with each other with magic spells, protection spells, and all that fancy stuff, only to end it with some legal action in the end, only to end it with some lock changes, or even worse, they just kind of like kick the guy out of the building, which is honestly very anticlimactic. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, the first time I heard about this, I was honestly quite disappointed with how it ends, because like, that's it. That's a very ordinary ending of a supposedly epic battle of the biggest magicians of their era. I was expecting more. Anyways, still it gained some reputation and it got recorded in a book. This very book titled The Battle of Blythe Road, a Golden Dawn Affair. Yep, when something interesting happened, capitalize that thing. What a mindset. Even the magicians think that way too. Cannot blame them though. But still, with that being said, the battle itself had a huge impact on the two individuals involved, because for Yeats himself, the battle and like his like encounter with Crowley inspired his later poetry, and like he wrote some really interesting stuff, and it also affects his view on like magic and the occult and stuff like that. And for Crowley himself, the path he took was even more radical, because he left the group and he made his own group, and he called it the O.T.O, aka Ordo Tempus Orientis. I hope I pronounced that right. But yeah, Crowley himself became like the symbol of revolution of Western esotericism. And at the very least, for the rest of us and for all the other people who are in the occult world, the Battle of Blythe Road remains one of the most cinematic internal system of a secret society that we all still remember today in 2025, regardless of the anticlimactic nature of the end of the battle. So that was the Battle of Blythe Road for y'all. This is my first time doing this type of videos, honestly, so maybe I do sound a little bit awkward because I'm not quite used to it yet, but it is something that I want to get better with practice in the future, so stay tuned for more, and happy Halloween. Bye bye. Thank you.